Which car brands shone at IAA Mobility 2025? What were this year's big announcements? How did the show itself measure up? This is the Automotive Update, presented by AutoVista24. I'm Tom Geggus, AutoVista24's editor, here with the latest edition of the Automotive Update. Today's episode is an IAA Mobility special. Fresh from Munich is AutoVista24 journalist Tom Hooker. Tom, how are you feeling, and have you managed to get any rest at all?
Hi Tom, I'm feeling good, thank you. I've got just about enough rest for today and I'm very excited to jump in.
Well, it's great to have you with us, Tom, and hopefully afterwards you can catch some rest. So I think first of all, let's just have you describe the event in just 3 words. What did you think?
It's a very hard question, Tom. I think if I had to pin it down to just 3 words, my first one would be transition. The reason I say this is because I think a lot of different European brands, specifically German brands, have used the event as a chance to display new design languages and new directions. The second one I go for is diversity. And I say this one because you have the IAA Summit space in the Trade Exhibition Centre, but you also have these open spaces in the centre of Munich, which are kind of surrounded by iconic locations. And I think it's a really good idea because not only do you have the sort of B2B spaces, but you also have somewhere where the public can really get involved and see these models and new concepts up close and personal. The third and final word I would go for is design. And actually, I'm not going to explain why I've chosen that word just yet. I'll get into that in a second.
Okay, you can leave us on a cliffhanger. But let's take a look through some of the automotive show themes first, because you've been to several of these events now. How did IAA Mobility 2025 stack up against some of the other shows you've been to recently?
I think I would say it was a very large-scale event. For reference, I've been to the likes of Paris Motor Show, Goodwood Festival of Speed, also some more business-focused events. And yeah, I would say it was a very big carmaker presence. It was quite noticeable how many different brands, not just from Europe, of course, but from China and other regions, really got stuck in and had big ranges of cars for the public to see. And I mean, even on the press day, it was absolutely packed with visitors.
Okay, so you're teasing us with brands here, Tom. What stood out to you at this year's IAA Mobility? Walk me through some of Germany's domestic brands first.
I think that's a great place to start, Tom, because, yeah, German brands had a huge presence at the event. We'll start with BMW, and there was a lot of anticipation for the launch of its Neue Klasse platform. This is going to underpin more than 40 either new or updated models by 2027. The first of these was the iX3, and this had a radically different design. So it's out with the chrome kidneys, if you can call them that, and in with these light signatures, which form part of the daytime running lights at the front of the vehicle.
And of course, we can't talk about German brands without mentioning Volkswagen. Tom, what did they take to the show?
You're absolutely right. They had 4 models on show. First of these was the ID Polo, and with it, the ID Polo GTI. Both of these models were presented in camouflage, and they're going to have world premieres in 2026. Now, some of you may know that the ID Polo was actually previously called the ID2, and this marks the start of VW's new naming strategy, where established model names are going to be transferred to EVs. Moving on, they also had the ID Cross concept, and this highlighted the brand's new design language. Then you did have the ID Everyone, which is the smallest of those 4 models, and it's set for production in Europe in 2027. We'll move it on now to another one of the big name German brands, and this is, of course, Mercedes-Benz. They had a big eye-catching stand at the event and it was in line with its new GLC, specifically its illuminated chrome front grille. The models had an interior and technology overhaul like the BMW iX3, and also like BMW, the GLC is leading a product offensive of more than 40 vehicles over the next 3 years. Now, while we're on the topic, I also want to mention Smart, and the reason why is because they confirmed the return of its iconic, I would say almost cult classic at this point, two-seater city car. It will be called the Hashtag 2 and it will be all electric. It plans to present it as a production model in Europe, possibly as early as 2026.
And speaking of two-seaters, Tom, maybe you want to let us in on what Audi brought to the show.
Audi unveiled the Concept C. It's an electric two-seater sports car that sits between the TT and the Audi R8, which have both been discontinued. It represents the brand's new design philosophy and Audi's future direction as well. The manufacturer also debuted the Q3 Sportback e-hybrid. Then moving on from Audi, I want to give another quick shout out to Porsche. They showcased its new wireless charging technology for cars. This works in the same way as you would charge your mobile phone, and it's going to be first available on the all-electric Cayenne.
And what other brands really caught your eye at the event?
Another brand that caught my eye was Renault, because they presented the 6th generation of their Clio. This has a noticeably different modern design compared to the Renault 5 and Renault 4, which were also on show. Skoda had two big reveals at the IAA Mobility. Firstly, the Epic show car. This previewed an SUV crossover, and it will be the first model to fully adopt Skoda's modern design language. It's scheduled for production in 2026. The Czech brand also presented the Skoda Vision O. This is an estate concept with an evolved version of the modern solid design language with a redesigned interior as well. Cupra presented the Raval electric city car in camouflage, and this is going to be launched in 2026. They also then had the Tindea, which is a striking concept with sharp lines, and it displays Cupra's future design language.
So what were the other European or Korean brands that caught your attention, Tom?
I think there's 3 more brands which I'd like to point out, Tom. Firstly, Polestar, and they revealed the Polestar 5 Grand Tourer, which first began life as a concept in 2020. Then there's Hyundai, and they presented the Concept 3, which is the first EV concept from its Ioniq sub-brand. The manufacturer also said it plans to offer an electrified version of every model in Europe by 2027 and introduce 21 EV models globally by 2030. Kia brought the EV2 to Munich. This is a B-segment SUV, and it previewed a production model set to launch in 2026. Another upcoming model displayed was the EV5, and this is a C-segment SUV with a launch expected before the end of 2025.
And I know that brands from China really stood out as well at the event, Tom. Why don't you take us through some of the models there that you really got drawn to?
Well, there's quite a few different brands from China that were at the IAA Mobility. We'll begin with BYD, and they had their SIL DMI Touring PHEV estate at the event. They also had the Dolphin Surf City car in Munich as well, and this has been confirmed as the first passenger car from BYD to be made in Europe. The car maker then also confirmed that flash charging will be coming to the continent. Now, this is a technology that can reach 400 kilometers worth of range after just 5 minutes of charging. Leapmotor had a world premiere at the event, and this was the BO5 electric hatchback. They also showed their B10 SUV, which began deliveries during the IAA and is available in over 30 countries. Elsewhere, XPeng had the European debut of its P7, and Changan confirmed its SO5 BEV SUV will be coming to Europe. GAC presented the Aeon V, which is also a BEV SUV, and it will be the brand's first model sold in the continent. They plan to enter Poland, Portugal, Finland, and other countries from September 2025. Hongqi unveiled plans to offer up to 15 models in the European market, covering BEVs and hybrids in the A segment to the E segment. Another brand which announced its global expansion plans was ATO. They presented specialized variants of 3 SUVs. This was the 809, the 807, and the 805 to enter the Middle Eastern market.
And if Chinese brands entering Europe is a topic you're interested in, Autovista Group is running a webinar on just that very topic. There'll be a link in the show notes. But for now, Tom, was there anything else that really caught your eye at this event?
There's also TOG, which is a Turkish brand, and they presented the world premiere of its T10F sedan. This is going to be starting sales in Germany alongside the T10X SUV at the end of September. And lastly, I want to mention 2 American brands. Firstly, Lucid. They announced the European debut of its Gravity SUV, a premium BEV which will initially be available to order in Germany, the Netherlands, Switzerland, and Norway. Ford was also in Munich, and they hosted the world premiere of its Ranger plug-in hybrid MS-RT.
So then, Tom, if our listeners should take one thing away from IAA Mobility, what should it be?
I think my main talking point coming out of this event and also looking into the future is that Europe's going to be a hotbed of automotive competition. It feels like you have the very best coming from China and America and also other countries as well to battle Europe for market share. Specifically, I think it's very interesting how the Chinese brands are approaching Europe. And actually, I'm going to be writing a separate article on this topic, so keep an eye out for that one as well.
Absolutely. And this interview is not the end of Tom's coverage. You can find all of that on Autovista 24. There will be a link in the show notes. To get all of our news right to your inbox, just sign up for our email. It's as easy as going to our homepage and scrolling to the sign up form. Check out Autovista 24's YouTube channel as well. There you'll find our What Is Explainer videos, Launchport series, and webinar recordings. And of course, subscribe to the Autovista 24 podcast wherever you listen to us. A big thank you to Autovista 24 journalist Tom Hooker for appearing in and co-producing this episode. Additional thanks go to special content editor Phil Curry and web editor James Roberts. The music was Better Find a Solution Fast by Richard Ames. Thank you for listening to the Autovista 24 podcast.